What was the scariest city you've ever been to? Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Didn't matter, day or night, people looked at you with hatred. The doorman in my hotel in Johannesburg stopped me as I was walking out and told me, "You won't last 5 minutes out there. Go back to your room where it's safe." Kingston, Jamaica. I switched hotels to one more secure. Early on my last morning, I was going to the airport and my original hotel was on fire. Johannesburg. When you stop at a red light, you have to be ready to punch the gas, as there are broad daylight carjackings at intersections. Isla Trinitaria in southern Guayaquil, Ecuador. Absolutely bonkers. Rizhao, China. Not scary so much like the others. China is insanely safe, but extremely creepy. I felt like I was on a movie set. First off, it's a city of 500,000, but it's built for a population of 10 million. But it's not like those ghost cities out west where there never was anyone. It seemed like it was actually a big city, but everyone just left suddenly. The beaches were well maintained and empty. The buses ran frequently and were empty. The streets were lined with all the usual Chinese stuff and were empty. We went into a breakfast restaurant, and the food was great, but we were the only custom and the staff seemed surprised to see us. We asked for directions to the famous fish market. No one there could tell us where it was. It turned out to be about 750 meters away. It was massive and filled with vendors selling huge quantities of incredibly fresh fish. It was mostly empty. Also, almost everything was open until the wee hours of the morning, if not 24 hours. This is unusual even in the biggest Chinese cities, let alone this abandoned town. It was just an unsettling experience all around. Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea. Every property surrounded by solid fences topped with razor wire, and if you can afford it, patrolled by armed guards and guard dogs. As a visitor, you should never use a local taxi or walk outside your hotel compound at night. Juarez, Mexico. I'm an Irish Mexican. Redhead. Went with cousins to see my aunt and uncle. At the time, 07, it was the most murderous city on earth. My family members were in a cartel. There was a cartel war going on. Had armed men all around at all times. For all the money and cars and opulence at their home, it was like being in prison. The tension in the air was thick. I was treated like a king, but that whole week, I was terrified inside. Different world. Was told no matter what happens, do not call police. They worked for the other guys. I was told that if shit kicked off and anyone made it through the gates, to grab a gun and shoot myself. That would be the best possible outcome. I haven't been back. Johannesburg. It's the only place I've been where the pilot tells you before landing where to go and not to go. What to do and not to do if you don't want to get robbed, mugged or killed. I wish Google Maps still told you when your path was through a high crime area. I ended up driving through this tiny town in the middle of Nevada that I assume used to be a mining town. It looked like a steady paycheck hadn't been seen in this town for 20 years, the houses were all dilapidated, and the locals looked just as worn out. Bullet holes and burn marks could be seen on pretty much every building. The only reason I drove through the town instead of just sticking to the main road was to top up on gas, but I couldn't find anything. Not even a small convenience store. It must have been hell for those folks considering the closest town with an actual store and gas was around 70 miles away. Edit. I took a look via Google Earth at some of the towns people mentioned and I found it. Gabs NV. Definitely not a place I do want to go back to. Mogadishu 9293. Juarez around 2007. They told me that the cartel had some heads hanging from a bridge for everyone to see, and they didn't get taken down until several hours later. West Memphis is so sketchy. Was in St. Louis with my cousin and we crossed that bridge. East St. Louis has gotta be the most dangerous feeling place I'd ever been. Streetlights busted out at night, everything run down abandoned, bullet holes in the stop signs, etc. We pulled up GPS and got the fuck out of there real quick lol. Tripoli, Libya in 2012, post-revolution. Johannesburg, just a bad vibe, didn't feel safe walking even in the suburbs. Tijuana. I lived there for 2 years as a runaway teen. This was over 30 years ago, but I'm fairly certain it hasn't gotten better. St. Louis. It was weird for a few reasons, but the scariest was when I was leaving the hotel myself, my mom, and my 2 large dogs were staying at. We saw a man messing with my car, like hood was propped. As I started raising my voice and approaching with my large barking dogs, he ran. I made sure to push the hood down so it would latch, or so I thought. We loaded the car up and drove away as fast as possible. As soon as we got on the freeway, the hood blew up and almost hit the windshield. I honestly have no idea how it didn't. Maybe a safety feature. So I had to pull over and resecure it. Mofo obviously messed something up on purpose because he pulled up behind us. I got back in the car. My digs and mom losing their shit, drove slowish, put my hazards on, and my mom called 911. He sped off after taking pics. Weirdest experience of my life. The hotel was so sketchy, and my intuition was telling me to leave the entire time. I honestly think the man was in on something with the hotel staff or was hotel staff himself. My 2 dogs were extremely on edge and they are generally easygoing. Plate numbers were stolen and police couldn't doing anything. Tijuana. I saw a dead body on my way to the bus terminal, just laying on the sidewalk. There were people standing around him, smoking, drinking, and just having a good all time while dude is just dead, like dead AF, stiff, purple, and blue. Wildest shit I've ever seen. No one gave a single shit.